next team is Team Maverics from Fore School of Management. Please give a round of applause for S. Venkatachalam and Mrinalini.
Good evening all. We are S. Venkatachalam and Mrinalini from Fore School of Management here to present the same case with a different perspective. We will start off by giving you an executive summary of the case, what we have done about the case. We have analyzed the pros and cons of the system and we have given a solution, that is strategic alliance between Indian Railways and Hindalco to carry out the process. How, why and feasibility could be discussed in the further slides. Now, on the analysis of our case, we found out three major options. First was from Renukut to ICD Kanpur to JNPT Navi Mumbai. The second option was Renukut ICD Kanpur to Captive Jetty Dahej Gujarat, which is owned by Hindalco. And the third one is Renukut ICD Kolkata and Kolkata Port. From our analysis, we found out that to optimize the route of Renukut ICD Kanpur and JNPT. Now, let me take you through the steps which are happening to the goods from Renukut to the seaport. The first would be the packaging of the goods into wooden containers, then stuffing of the containers, wooden pallets, then stuffing of the pallet into the containers. And then it is loaded onto the trucks, which are then moved to ICD Kanpur. Then in the Kanpur, the goods are then freight is then unloaded and kept there for storage. Depending upon the availability of the empty flat beds, they are then loaded and then it is sent to JNPT. Once it reaches JNPT, then there is a special gantry system which loads the containers onto the ships. This is the early system which Hindalco was using this. And the second system, the events are similar, but one step is reduced because we are using the train directly from Renukut to JNPT. Now in that, all the cost and everything which are being reduced and increased will be discussed further. Now pros and cons of the whole system. Operating with trucks and road systems is easy. And the second one is, if there is any damage, the damage would be taken up by the truck companies. And in any network, the number of nodes and flows, if they are more, then the cost is going to increase. Also the lead time. The second, now we discuss the disadvantages, that is high logistic cost, multiple invoices, because the journey is being broken up into three parts, the invoices would be obviously increasing. Now the lead time delivery and now to achieve high economics of scale, we need to transport large amount of goods. The amount of goods would be lower in this case, and in the train we would be transporting large amount of goods. So the economics of scales would be higher. Now in the new system we discuss the pros and cons of the new system. Now in this it is known logistic cost is low, lead time is also low. Then after that we have done the invoice calculation, which will be shown in few minutes. In this, there are invoices generated to Hindalco R3, and similar invoices are generated in the new system also. But by the shippers which are generated, the ICD invoices are not being generated in the second case, so invoices are also being reduced. Now we have calculated the cost and the delivery timings. This whole early system takes a lead time of nearly 8 to 9 days. We have taken 2 days as a safety lead time. And the second case, it's shown as 3 and 3, but the 3 other one won't be counting because at the same time the other train would be coming back. So that's only 3 times plus 2 times of the safety lead time. So we are nearly hoping for a 5 to 6 days of lead time in the second case. Now for the cost calculations, we are going on the cost calculations for this. We have assigned the variables to different costs, and we have calculated that in the first the cost is very heavy, and the second is the cost is very low. That's what was being shown on in the tabular form. The next slides will be taken up by Mrinalini.
Thank you, Venkat. Now I'll be discussing the solution which we are going to propose. We are proposing a strategic alliance between Hindalco and the Indian Railways such that they provide dedicated rail tracks and also siding and special flatbed wagon trains to handle the transportation of goods. this may require extending of the railway lines into the Hindalco premises. Now, what the two major aspects which we consider: change management and risk management. Under change management, what is the new equipment? We are planning to have the trains GPS enabled into the trains. Also, the new people who would be here is the dedicated railway officials who are allocated only for Hindalco. And software would be the new software solutions for tracking of goods by both the customers as well as the manufacturers at Hindalco. Coming to the risk management, the risks involved are that railway officers are not empowered to ensure smooth and timely movement, which is the bureaucratic behavior of the railway department. Apart from that, we have risks of accidents or delays and other problems which might occur, and the difficulty of claiming insurances. To mitigate these risks, we consider two options. One is the safety lead time of 2 days can be provided. Another is maintain proper coordination between the Indian Railway and the Hindalco officers. This solution is quite feasible because this is an existing solution which we can see in NTPC, where the Indian Railways has got the line extended into their plant. So this is a possible solution. Also, we can also find out the number of trains which are required per day depending on the output. For this calculation, I'll just show you. According to the standard sizes, we have 20 feet and 40 feet containers carrying 22 and 27 tons respectively. Also Hindalco, we know that Hindalco uses 20 feet containers of 22 tons. Now the number of flatbeds which we assume to be 20. So when we do the calculations, assuming that 6 working days and it requires 1 train per day, we get a total of 10,560 tons per month. So based on the amount of output which Hindalco wants to produce per month, it can increase the number of trains. Like it had for 10,000 tons for 1 train per day is sufficient, or 20,000 or somewhere there, 2 trains would be sufficient. Now we consider the cost of line extension into Hindalco loading and unloading premises. We know that there is already a railway station at Renuput, and the distance between Renuput and the Hindalco plant comes up to around 2 kilometers. And the cost for extending the railway lines is approximately 1 crore INR per kilometer. Hence, the total would come up to around 2 crores as per the calculation. And the additional cost for the new system, which we say is the cost which has to be paid for the dedicated employees and for buying of the rakes. Also the cost of setting up the new GPS system. So as we know that the freight charges of rail is much cheaper than road transportation, in spite of the additional cost, we suggest this is a profitable solution. Thank you.
One clarification, we have calculated 2 trains. So what do you mean by 2 trains? I mean it consists of 2 rakes, so what?
So
how many rakes? Because trains can have 30 rakes, it can have 60 rakes.
Okay, so we have considered 2 trains with 20 to 24 rakes. That depends about the amount of quantity which they have to transport. Like the lead time now the lead time is in your hands. Like 1 train, we know it takes 3 days to reach the seaport. Now if I increase the number of trains, then the lead time gets reduced. If I want 2 trains today only, then I will increase the number of trains to say 12 or 18. Then that would make, that's why strategically we used Indian Railways to provide us the full train.
He meant 12, which means 20, which means the flatbed wagons, not the train, flatbed wagons.
Okay. One more thing, the Renuput station is only 2 kilometers away. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So rather than extending the lines, why can't you think of transporting through trucks to this 2 kilometers, only 2 kilometers, correct? And have an intermittent ICD kind of things there, and then upload it there in the railway station.
But
so
sir,
the invoices which are being reduced now, that invoices won't be reduced in that case also. The number of nodes you are having, the number of invoices would be increasing. Our main problem was in transit.
So if we think in the long run, now we see that there's a lot of delays whenever the goods are transported by trucks. So it's better to always have the train extended, line extended, because in the long run to transport larger amount of goods, it would be more useful.
See, the problem, what you can see it here is, if your loads are not ready, for example, they have sanctioned you 20 rakes, and you have not have your output 20 rakes ready in the 2 days, or maybe it may take 3 days or 4 days, then they will charge you demurrage after 48 hours. Correct? They will send you the rakes, because there is very uncertainty of having the rakes for you plant until unless you have your own freight corridor. And then in freight corridor, what is the charges? We have not calculated it. It's only an technically you are told you will go for the freight corridor. Correct? So have you analyzed that part?
Yes, sir, we did analyze that part about the calculation on exact charges and all. Sir, because actually my uncle owns a manufacturing industry of shipping parts. So he told that the data won't be disclosed, the actual rate cards won't be disclosed by any website or any company. So what we analyzed, we gave it arbitrary variables and then we analyzed that this cost would be more than this. So according what I can say is, in the relative manner, we analyze the cost, not the actual cost. That's fine.
Have you done any study on the traffic on that route, that is Renukoot to JNPT or Renukoot to Calcutta? Those lines must already be saturated. So your 2 additional racks would not go there. They might have to wait at Renukoot for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 days. What are you going to do that?
But we have a safety lead time which we are providing such that any kind of delay. Yes, 2 days lead time.
But you have no clue as to what is the traffic position today. Can it accommodate 2 additional racks?
Sir, in Hindalco premises, right? Or
Railway track between Renukoot.
Traffic congestions. What is asking is the traffic congestion part.
so actually the graphs, 2 graphs were given in the case. One was that the traffic of rails was going down and the traffic in highways was going up. So we use that if the traffic is reducing.
It's an overall thing. It is not nothing related to JNPT lines. It's an overall thing. It can happen in the south or somewhere. Correct?
Can you explain what you meant by saying the invoices? I want to understand. You mentioned the number of invoices will increase. So how does it happen?
So invoices to what our understanding is, first the goods, the customer invoices to Hindalco are there in both the cases. The amount they would be purchasing for that invoices would be raised onto Hindalco from the customers to both the cases. The other 3 was, the first one was in JNPT trucks. In the first case, the trucks which would be taking up the loading of the goods would be raising invoices to Hindalco. Then again, the ICD place, then they would be also raising, because they are having the storage containers of Hindalco, so they would be raising the invoices over Hindalco again. And the third one is JNPT. So this was the 3 areas where we thought reducing the middle node would reduce the number of invoices. 2 invoices only, 2 times.
So you are assuming that invoice for each consignment there will be 1 invoice. That is your assumption.
Yes.
Sorry,
Right.
sir. Sorry, I didn't.
For each consignment there will be 1 invoice.
Right. But multiple times you have to provide the details. So here we can have just 2 invoices, one for the train transportation and for the transportation
So
overseas.
just for my knowledge, did you consult somebody about how the documentation take place, how the invoices are made, or it's your assumption, or how did you arrive at this?
So,
You consult company, somebody, or did you ask someone as to how do you make, how
He spoke to his uncle who was there, so he just told about the multiple invoicing. We got just basic idea. We are not too aware of the kind of
Exact
documents and
documents.
exact details.
So because the case was to reduce the logistic expenses and so we did not get into that area very far. That's why.
some
We
kind of
just-
mapping that, okay, this transaction of a kind
Yes.
from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are 10 kinds of documents, these are only 8 in this. So any kind of mapping, somebody helped you in that, or you didn't receive? So, to be specific.
Not
No,
that kind of.
no specific.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hello. I have a question for you. What are the stuffing days of at the port, or how many days was the stuffing carried out at what was the respective ports usually? Was it 7 days or was it 5 days?
Stuffing in the first.
Yeah,
That
there
will
are some-
happen at the Hindalco premises.
No, I'm talking about the port. There would be a ship which would be waiting.
Right.
So, how many days were the stuffing happening for the study, whatever it is? Was it 7 days? Was it alternate days? Or how was it?
We do 4 days, around 4 days.
Right, thanks. So if you had 4 days, how did you go for a back calculation of scheduling your ship, the train arrival at the port, and at the same time your stuffing time and the production scheduling?
Actually, JNPT port is a very busy port.
Exactly.
Yeah, that I understand. We knew that that would be a problem. That's so. But for the analysis, we had three options. The last option was the most difficult one. So we chose that option so that if we optimize that path, then we can optimize the other two paths.
We are mainly concerned with transportation of goods to the seaport. So beyond how long it takes.
And moreover, there
we didn't
are
concentrate
special
more on
gantry
that.
systems which load the containers from the flatbeds directly from the flatbeds to the shipping without unloading it from it.
That's a very valid point. What my concern here basically is if you have a production scheduling, if the production is in time, and you're able to load the rack in time. If the rack moves in time and the ship is waiting, then it can save the time of unnecessary damage.
Right.
That's the point. Was that point analyzed here? Because that does not bring, the case study does not bring out the waiting time.
We didn't analyze at the seaport, just the transportation to the seaport. From there, because both the cases, it is anyway going to the seaport, and after that, whatever time it takes, it's a standard thing here.
We reduced the lead time of the whole pathway, not after that reaching and then waiting. Then we did not hold that.
Yeah.
Thank you.